And there's a sense of anticipation in the air as this important regional meeting begins in earnest. Today's ceremony will highlight ASEAN's unity, Malaysia's chairmanship priorities, and a shared commitment to regional peace, prosperity, and progress.
With the opening reflecting the spirit of ASEAN matters, epicentrum of growth, a reminder that Southeast Asia is not only a strategic passport, but a whole region rich in opportunity, leadership.
And now entering the plenary hall, the Honorable Prime Minister of Malaysia, Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim, to officiate the opening ceremony of the 58th ASEAN Foreign Ministers Meeting here in Kuala Lumpur.
Ibrahim, Prime Minister of Malaysia, accompanied by the Honorable Datuk Sri Utama Haji Muhammad bin Haji Hassan, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Malaysia. Thank you, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Do kindly be seated. The Honorable Datuk Sri Anwar bin Ibrahim, Prime Minister of Malaysia. The Honorable Datuk Sri Haji Fadilah bin Haji Yusof, Deputy Prime Minister of Malaysia. The Honorable Datuk Sri Utama Haji Muhammad bin Haji Hassan, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Malaysia. Her Excellency Maria Teresa Lazaro, Secretary of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of the Philippines. The Honorable Datuk Sri Setia Haji Eriwan bin Pehin Datuk Pakirma Jaya Haji Muhammad Yusof, Minister of Foreign Affairs II of Brunei Darussalam. His Excellency Prak Songkhon, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of the Kingdom of Cambodia. His Excellency Sugiono, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia. His Excellency Tongsavan Pomvinhane, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Lao People's Democratic Republic. His Excellency Dr. Vivian Balakrishnan, Minister for Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Singapore. His Excellency Mari Sagyampongsa, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Kingdom of Thailand. His Excellency Bui Tan Son, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam. His Excellency Khao Nhun Oo, Acting Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of the Union of Myanmar. His Excellency Bendito dos Santos Freitas, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Cooperation of the Democratic Republic of Timor-Leste. His Excellency Dr. Kao Kim Horn, Secretary General of ASEAN. Honorable Ministers, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, friends of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good morning and selamat datang. Welcome to the 58th ASEAN Foreign Ministers Meeting, held under the theme of Malaysia's ASEAN Chairmanship for 2025, Inclusivity and Sustainability. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to invite everyone to kindly rise for the ASEAN Anthem. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Do kindly be seated. Please join me in giving a warm round of applause to the talented children, singers, and their dedicated choir instructors for a truly graceful and inspiring performance. The rendition of the ASEAN Anthem, the ASEAN Way, was proudly presented by the graceful children from the Malaysian Federation of the Deaf and the National Choir of Malaysia. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I'm privileged to invite the Chair of the 58th ASEAN Foreign Ministers Meeting, the Honorable Datuk Sri Utama Haji Muhammad bin Haji Hassan, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Malaysia, to deliver his welcoming remarks.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Sri Anwar bin Ibrahim, Prime Minister of Malaysia. Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Sri Haji Fadilah bin Haji Yusof, Deputy Prime Minister of Malaysia. Excellencies, Foreign Ministers of ASEAN Member States. His Excellency Dr. Kao Kim Hoon, Secretary General of ASEAN. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good morning. Datuk Sri, let me begin by expressing my deepest appreciation to you, sir, for your presence today. I know you just arrived from Rio at 3 a.m. this morning, and you still made it here for this. I thank you very much for that. Datuk Sri, on behalf of the Malaysian government, I am pleased to welcome our ASEAN colleagues back to Kuala Lumpur for the 58th ASEAN Foreign Ministers Meeting. ASEAN has come a long way since its inception 58 years ago. On that day, 5 of our leaders gathered to plant the seeds of our community with the signing of the Bangkok Declaration. This was a major turning point in the history of the region. In 1967, ASEAN was born into a world defined by nuclear brinkmanship and proxy wars being fought across the globe. Amid such tensions, it was a visionary act to bring 5 Southeast Asian nations together in the name of peace. In a world fragmented by conflict, our founders chose to build bridges and uplift multilateralism. Today we face newer threats: climate change, disruptive technologies, societies driven apart by political and economic polarization. In the realm of geopolitics, great power rivalries cast their long shadows across our region. Protectionism endangers the open multilateral trade which powered our growth. Distant conflicts disrupt our markets, supply chains, and food security. These issues endanger us all, but especially those of us in the global south. We in ASEAN must focus our effort toward the full future-proof Southeast Asia. We must keep our spirit of strategic autonomy and collective action alive. With the torch now in our hand, we must lead our peoples into a safer, more equitable future. In pursuit of this goal, Malaysia's chairmanship is guided by the aspirations of inclusivity and sustainability. We aim to strengthen regional peace, stability, and prosperity within a future-oriented framework anchored in these values. Just weeks ago in this hall, our leaders signed the Kuala Lumpur Declaration on ASEAN 2045, our shared future, and adopted the ASEAN Community Vision 2045. This 20-year vision aims for a resilient, innovative, and people-centered ASEAN. That journey begins now. Our course shall be steered by ASEAN centrality allowing us to shape regional architecture on our terms. With this strategic clarity, ASEAN will engage our 11 dialogue partners in the upcoming post-ministerial conferences, laying the groundwork for the ASEAN +3 and East Asia summits. This ensures economic cooperation and strategic trust move in tandem. We will also convene the ASEAN Regional Forum with renewed resolve, affirming its role as the region's key platform for political security dialogue. ASEAN's principles are being embraced well beyond our region. Later today, we welcome Algeria and Uruguay as new signatories to the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation. Our Foreign Minister of Algeria and also Uruguay also in this hall, Dato' Sri. And on Friday, Malaysia will host the fourth cooperation among East Asian countries for Palestinian development, reaffirming ASEAN's solidarity with the Palestinian people. As I conclude, I remind my colleagues, ASEAN has never shied away from ambition. Our work carries the hopes and futures of the nearly 700 million souls we represent. This stage is set and the moment is ours. Dato' Sri, it is now my privilege to invite you, Prime Minister of Malaysia, to deliver your opening address. The stage is yours, sir. Thank you.
Wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera untuk Masan, Menteri Luar yang mempengusikan sidang, saudara saya TPM Datuk Seri Fadilah Yusof, Menteri-Menteri, rakan-rakan Menteri-Menteri ASEAN, tuan-tuan utama, saudara-saudari yang dimuliakan. Satu penghormatan lagi kepada Malaysia, tatkala mempengusikan ASEAN tahun ini dan menyelenggara sidang utama hari ini, kerana di sinilah tapak untuk kita kembangkan perbincangan pada bulan Oktober nanti. Izin kami menyatakan bahawa kekuatan ASEAN inilah jaminan keamanan. Kekuatan ASEAN ini ialah jaminan pertumbuhan ekonomi. Dan kekuatan ini juga diharapkan untuk menjaga kepentingan rakyat ASEAN keseluruhannya. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, may I begin and seek your indulgence to express my personal feelings and concern, as I also expressed to my friends, foreign ministers, this morning. That is, from the most senior leaders in ASEAN to the present, we have achieved thus far due to the level of trust, friendship among leaders, and I believe foreign ministers too. The more contentious issues like Myanmar, the 5-point consensus, whether to be able to meet Prime Minister Military Junta and NUG Prime Minister. When we discuss with the leaders, without exception, full of support and confidence shown. Similarly, after the event, we were able to engage again to seek a common platform, understanding how to proceed. Even the unfortunate incidents recently between Cambodia and Thailand, which of course most leaders, all ASEAN leaders, do express some concern. But we had no inhibition at all to immediately call our colleagues, in both countries, to express our concern and to support all endeavors, initiatives to secure a lasting peace. We have gone through phases to ensure a relative success of ASEAN, including areas that we think have faced some limitations. like inter-ASEAN trade, joint investments. But we have done relatively well because, again, I must reiterate the level of trust and confidence that we have among ourselves. I've just returned, as you know, from Rio. I was in Italy, France before that. Without exception, meeting leaders, of course, bilateral sessions with Malaysia, but without exception, they all ask about ASEAN. Everyone have recognized the role of ASEAN. ASEAN now has come and achieved a spectacular position, measure of respect and recognition internationally, and I must thank you all, and particularly the foreign ministers. So welcome officially to Kuala Lumpur for the 58th ASEAN Foreign Ministers Meeting. We are at the moment where we have to make courageous choices about ASEAN's priorities, our voice in the world, how we shape the region between now and 2045. So again, thank you to the foreign ministers, leaders, for the trust shown to us this year and next year to the Philippines. And I've assured President Bongbong Marcos that this part of our endeavor will give all the necessary support and cooperation to ensure the success. ASEAN, as reflected by Foreign Minister Hassan, was not born of ease. It was forged in complexity by nations that understood the perils of divisions and the promise of dialogue. Yet we have persevered and preserved peace and expanded prosperity in ways few regions can equal. We did so by nurturing a habit of cooperation, a willingness to keep engaging, and even in the past, nothing to do with my sleep. Our region's strength, therefore, lies not in the absence of tension, but in our commitment to manage it through mutual respect, continuous dialogue, and the search for consensus. That is the ASEAN way. It must remain our guide. We also look forward to welcoming Timor-Leste as our newest member in October. Malaysia has long supported this aspiration, and we were heartened by the progress made. And thank again Secretary General of the Secretariat for facilitating. And I urge all member states to continue supporting Timor-Leste's path to full integration, not only into our institutions, but for the region's future. Above all, ASEAN centrality must be our North Star, as reflected by the continuous strengthening and innovation of ASEAN-led institutions. We must remain the region's primary anchor for dialogue, inasmuch as our dialogue partners must continue to find value in engaging with us. Foreign Minister Hassan is complaining of his headache because everywhere we go, leaders want to at least participate. If they can't join, they want to participate. So I said, please persuade your colleagues, the foreign ministers, that we will we are very likely to have President Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa and Lula da Silva of Brazil wanting to join, at least representing their regions. That's, I'm just giving a suggestion. The problem is for the foreign ministers to then facilitate. That's why you are here today. Now, you see, that level of understanding and confidence is unheard of, and it's not the pattern observed by many other regions. I'm very proud. I'm not exaggerating, but I am extremely delighted to be able to contribute and participate with the level of support and trust and friendship shown by all these countries and their leaders. And therefore, please convey my respects to your respective leaders and governments, and wish them well and continue to engage and ensure that the success of ASEAN in the future is rest assured. Now, this meeting takes place amid the unraveling of assumptions where power unsettles principle and calm can no longer be taken for granted. The global order is fraying, conflict, coercion, mistrust now define too many relationships, and countless lives are being lost or overturned in their wake. In Gaza and Palestine, we witness the unrelenting suffering of an entire people, denied dignity and justice across generations. In Ukraine, war grinds on. Across parts of Africa, violence continues to displace and devastate. And in Myanmar, regrettably, peace remains elusive even as suffering deepens. We are also deeply troubled by mounting tensions in the Middle East, with the actions of one state against its neighbors threaten to spark a wider regional conflagration. The risks are profound for energy security, global stability, and the integration of international law. The multilateral system cannot endure if its principles are upheld only when convenient. ASEAN must be among those who choose to stand for rules, even when others choose to retreat. Realism and values are not opposing forces. We need both to guide our choices and to defend what matters. Ministers, Excellencies, power has always shaped trade, but today it increasingly defines it. Across the world, tools once used to generate growth are now wielded to pressure, isolate, and contain. Tariffs, export restrictions, and investment barriers have now become the sharpened instruments of geopolitical rivalry. This is no passing storm. It is a new weather of our time. Now, ASEAN must confront this reality with clarity and conviction. We must read the landscape clinically, speak with coherence, act with foresight. Our cohesion must not end at declarations. It must be built into our institutions, our strategies, and our economic decisions. I therefore urge even closer alignment between ASEAN's foreign and economic policy tracks. Our foreign and economic ministers must move in concert in facing challenges. This imperative is fully aligned with ASEAN's Vision 2045, which calls for greater synergy across pillars and sectors. We must build habits of coordination that match the realities we confront. And as we navigate external pressures, we need to fortify our internal foundations, trade among ourselves, invest more in one another, and advance integration across sectors with resolve. To build a stronger, more connected ASEAN economy is a strategic imperative that will anchor our relevance and resilience for decades to come. We must also reject the idea that the world can be carved into spheres of influence and that decisions about our region can be made elsewhere. We are a region that charts its own course, deliberately, coherently, and with purpose. ASEAN will not be spoken for in absentia. Ministers, Excellencies, as global conditions remain uncertain, there is no overstressing the need to act with purpose in our own region by advancing cooperation that delivers tangible benefits to our people. ASEAN will continue to focus on practical collaboration, connectivity, food security, digital transformation, education, public health, and climate resilience. These efforts take shape in the quiet determination of a mother in Battambang, preparing her stall as dawn breaks over the city. They endure the steady hands of a farmer in central Luzon, tending the land that has sustained generations. And they shine in the hopeful eyes of a child in Chiang Rai, walking to school with dreams of the future. From Sittwe to Merauke, from Da Nang to Dili, our region can become more peaceful and more prosperous if we have the courage to see ASEAN not as nations moving in parallel, but as one community moving with purpose. This is where ASEAN proves its worth, not in communiques, but in outcomes that strengthen our region and serve our people. So let this meeting reaffirm our conviction that ASEAN will remain coherent, resilient, and respected. And with that, I declare the 58th ASEAN Foreign Ministers Meeting officially open. Terima kasih.
Thank you, Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Seri Anwar bin Ibrahim, Prime Minister of Malaysia. Talents of Istana Budaya. performance. Truly outstanding and captivating this morning. The music, dance, and the visual arts are inspired by the textures, sounds, and rhythms of the environment, drawing inspiration from Malaysia's emblematic flora and fauna. As we honor again introducing our performers from Istana Budaya.
And that wraps up the official opening ceremony of the 58th ASEAN Foreign Ministers Meeting here in Kuala Lumpur, officiated by the Honorable Prime Minister of Malaysia, Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim. The Prime Minister's remarks have set the tone for this year's ASEAN Chairmanship, focused on unity, resilience and relevance in addressing both regional priorities and global challenges.
Now, as the Prime Minister departs the venue, this moment reflects more than the end of an official program. It signals the ongoing commitment to Malaysia, to regional progress and shared prosperity. Under his leadership, Malaysia has placed strong emphasis on fostering economic resilience, sustainability, digital transformation and the empowerment of youth across the region. This departure is conducted with full ceremonial honor, as it is fitting for a leader whose voice continues to shape regional and international discourse.
The official opening ceremony of the 58th ASEAN Foreign Ministers Meeting has just concluded here in Kuala Lumpur. marking the formal beginning of what will be a critical week of regional diplomacy under Malaysia's chairmanship of ASEAN 2025.
And ASEAN is structured around three interconnected pillars: the ASEAN Political Security Community, the ASEAN Economic Community, and the ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community. And we are witnessing it all here today.
And just now we saw in keeping with the ASEAN tradition, the opening was marked by the ASEAN Anthem, the ASEAN Way, and these musical tributes remind us of both national pride and the shared identity ASEAN has cultivated over the decades. And Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim's keynote address set a clear and visionary tone for Malaysia's ASEAN chairmanship. He emphasizes the need for ASEAN to remain resilient in the face of external shocks, responsive to emerging global trends, and most importantly, relevant to the life of its 680 million people.
And indeed, with every step taken today, echoes the aspirations of the next generations and the current generations, with the past and ambitions of future leaders. The plenary hall they are currently approaching is more than a meeting space. It is a platform of conversations, shaping decisions that would impact millions of lives. In a world that is increasingly fragmented, ASEAN stands as a beacon of collaboration, balance, harmony, and shared progress. And this is ASEAN in motion, not just a ceremony, but in purpose, a region grounded in mutual respect, communication, advancing together, and determined to leave no one behind.
Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim's speech also highlighted Malaysia's priorities for the year, including strengthening ASEAN centrality, deepening regional economic integration, enhancing digital and green cooperation, and addressing challenges such as food security, climate change, and the digital divide. And with the official ceremony now concluded, at a tone set for AMM 2025, the foreign ministers will next move into the plenary session, where the real work of regional coordination and policy alignment begins.
At the end of coordination in the ASEAN Secretary General, who ensures that dialogue translates into action and that regional agenda is advanced consistently across all 10, soon 11 member nations. And we will continue to the next agenda of the meeting shortly after.
And we will take a short break as preparations are made for the plenary. Stay with us for continued live coverage as ASEAN steps forward together, united in purpose and partnership. From Kuala Lumpur. Stay tuned. For the 58th ASEAN Foreign Ministers
presents this ASEAN's Place of Conversation, heralds the entrance of the Philippines Minister as she's being greeted, an unmistakable gesture of respect before discussing Manila's plan for the ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community post-2025. Her warmth recalls a joint typhoon response drill with Malaysia, evidence that cooperation here saves lives as much as it builds economies.
Philippines, a founding member of ASEAN, remains a key voice in regional affairs, particularly in maritime cooperation, democratic governance, and the strengthening of ASEAN-led mechanisms for peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific.
With the Philippines emphasizing the importance of safeguarding ASEAN centrality, ensuring that the bloc remains a neutral, unified voice amidst growing global power rivalries. With the statements, it underscored the values of building trust, enhancing cooperation with dialogue partners, and upholding shared values rooted in democracy, human rights, and sustainable development.
As we approach the official opening of the 58th ASEAN Foreign Ministers Meeting here in Kuala Lumpur, we are still awaiting the arrival of a few remaining delegations. It has already been a morning of warm welcomes and symbolic handshakes as ASEAN Ibrahim's arrival marks a pivotal moment in this morning's proceedings. As the host nation's leader, his address will set the tone for Malaysia's ASEAN chairmanship in 2025, focusing on regional solidarity, economic resilience, and global relevance. Malaysia's leadership comes at a time when ASEAN must navigate increasingly complex challenges. The Prime Minister's long-standing engagement in regional affairs places him in a unique position to call for collective purpose and unity.
With the gentle hum of conversations to meetings, ASEAN's enduring strengths are definitely on full display. Network of relationships and institutions that anchors regional cooperation even as great power dynamics shift around it. With every nod exchange today, it reaffirms that ASEAN does not merely react to global currents, it is actually shaping them, providing a platform where dialogue trumps division and consensus trumps coercion.
And with the Prime Minister now in place, the opening ceremony will begin shortly, followed by the plenary session of ASEAN's top foreign policy decision makers.
This is a diversity, a mosaic of cultures, economy, and political systems that together represent nearly 650 million people, from the archipelagos of Indonesia to the highlands of Laos, to Brunei's oil-rich sultanate to Timor-Leste's emerging democracy. Each minister carries the weight of domestic priorities. In this whole room, those differences become assets, the sources of resilience, innovation, and shared learning. There's going to be a lot of discussion on cybersecurity that must account for both Singapore's technological prowess and Cambodia's connectivity challenges, the conversation on climate-resilient bridges, Vietnam's and the Philippines' typhoon belt.
And we can see this informal interaction, though brief, reflects the personal diplomacy and mutual respect that have long underpinned ASEAN's strength. Behind every formal statement is a relationship built over years of trust, dialogue, and shared vision.
First, the Secretary for Foreign Affairs of the Philippines.
A warm greeting that ripples outward in trade pacts that lower barriers for small businesses to big corporations, joint exercises that train fire responders to natural disasters, as well as in youth exchanges that spark the next generation of regional leaders.
Next, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Brunei Darussalam.
And now the Honorable Prime Minister of Malaysia, Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim, is seen greeting the delegation from Brunei Darussalam. The Honorable Datuk Sri Setia Haji Ariwan bin Pehin Datu Kermajaya Haji Muhammad Yusof, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Brunei Darussalam.
The last year's ASEAN's logistics roadmap finalizes similar meetings like this, achieved 2 days of shipment times. From the free trade agreements nurtured here account for over a quarter of a global GDP. And this week's dialogue will set the tone for the next wave of digital economy pilots, renewable energy grids, as well as the people-centered initiatives, projects that will be measured not only in policy papers, but in the livelihoods of opportunities of everyday citizens.
Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim extending a warm welcome to His Excellency Sugiono, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Republic of Indonesia.
This is the promise of the future, ASEAN's Vision 2045. Chartered by the ministers now being gathered, imagines a community that is cohesive, dynamic and outward-looking. This is more than a polite preamble. It is a moment where political will is being translated into collective action. A signal that despite a challenging world, ASEAN's founding spirit of unity, mutual respect and shared progress remains as vital as ever.
Thank you, Excellency. We can take your seat. Next, the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs of Vietnam.
And now Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim is greeting the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs, Socialist Republic of Vietnam.
Next, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Laos PTR.
And he is also greeting the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Laos PDR.
Next, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Cooperation of Timor-Leste. Thank you very much, Excellency. Can you take your seat? The last but not least, the Secretary General of ASEAN.
The ASEAN Secretariat, His Excellency Dr. Kal Pung Han, is greeted by Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim, the Prime Minister of Malaysia.
And now, with all ASEAN foreign ministers and the ASEAN Secretary General officially present and seated, the session of the 58th ASEAN Foreign Ministers Meeting is about to begin.
Anwar Ibrahim, Prime Minister of Malaysia, ASEAN Foreign Ministers and Heads of Delegation, Minister of Finance and Cooperation of Timor-Leste, Secretary General of ASEAN. The courtesy call will begin with remarks by the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Malaysia, followed by the Secretary for Foreign Affairs of the Philippines, and remarks by the Honorable Prime Minister of Malaysia. With that, Dr. Sri, the floor is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yang berhormat Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, Prime Minister of Malaysia, my fellow colleagues, Foreign Minister of ASEAN, Secretary General, ASEAN, a very good morning and a very warm welcome to all of you. Sir, it is my great honor to present to you my esteemed colleagues, the Foreign Ministers of the ASEAN family, as well as the Secretary General of ASEAN. We are truly privileged by your presence here today. I know you just arrived at 3 a.m. this morning, but despite that, you are here. We really appreciate that. We gathered this meeting for the 58th ASEAN Foreign Ministers Meeting, and related meetings. 6 decades already. This meeting has shaped the course of regional.
And we are now witnessing a long-standing ASEAN tradition, the official courtesy call on the Honorable Prime Minister of Malaysia, Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim, and by all ASEAN foreign ministers. This gesture of respect takes place ahead of the official opening of the ASEAN Foreign Ministers Meeting. It symbolizes not only the host country's hospitality, but also ASEAN's collective respect for leadership, diplomacy, and regional unity. Malaysia, as chair of ASEAN in 2025, plays a central role in guiding the region through a year of strategic focus. And this courtesy call allows the ministers to reaffirm their shared commitment to ASEAN's goals under the chairmanship of Malaysia.
The role of Prime Minister of Malaysia, Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim, embodies Malaysia's leadership in advancing a peaceful, inclusive, and forward-looking ASEAN agenda. His vision for the region continues to emphasize dialogue over division, development over disparity, and diplomacy over discord. This session will provide a rare opportunity for direct engagement between ASEAN's top political leadership and the head of government of the host nation. It will also set the tone for today's proceeding, underscoring not just the strength of Malaysia's bilateral relationships, but also the collective resolve of ASEAN member states to navigate today's global uncertainties with regional unity and purpose. And this moment is emblematic of ASEAN's approach to international relations, anchored in consensus, strengthened through dialogue, and driven by the belief that regional solutions are best shaped together.
And Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim is expected to express Malaysia's vision for a more resilient, responsive and relevant ASEAN, emphasizing economic equity, geopolitical balance, and people-centered development. And after this, we will proceed to the opening ceremony of AMM 2025. The official program continues shortly. Stay with us as we bring you full live coverage from Kuala Lumpur. And we will now take a short break. When we return, we'll bring you full live coverage of the official opening ceremony of AMM 2025, officiated by the Prime Minister himself.